Hey, my name is Melinda Russell, and I am obsessed with telling the stories of women involved in motorsports, young and older, from all walks of life, currently involved in a wide range of roles or sharing their stories from the past. I'm a wife, mother of four adult children, and a mama of 16. In 2017, I was searching social media for a group dedicated to women in motorsports. When I didn't find what I was looking for, I posted a message to a few racing pages to see if any women would like to connect with me. And now I have thousands of women and men who are part of the Women's Motorsports Network. As crew chief of the only media company dedicated to women in motorsports, I work from wherever my travels take me, publishing this podcast, the Women's Motorsports Network News online magazine, and Let's Talk Racing Live, my social media show. You will hear from women who share their stories from the grid of life, how they manage the messy and memorable moments of family, work, and racing. You will hear their tried and true secrets of success and many other topics like friendships, family, hardships, and heroes that women deal with to balance the seasons of life. So grab your favorite beverage, pull up a seat, make sure you are comfy, and get ready to be inspired and encouraged from the stories on the Women's Motorsports Network podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today is Kristen Hammer. Kristen is a young woman that is passionate about motorsports, and she loves it, or she wouldn't be on the podcast, for one thing, because that's who we talk to, is women in motorsports. And so, Kristen, welcome to the show. And I want to start by asking if you'd share just a little bit about yourself, your family, your pets, that kind of thing.
Well, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been racing for about 8 years. I live with my mom and my dad, but I have six siblings.
Wow.
I have 3 cats.
Okay.
Do
you still go to school, or how old are you?
I am 15.
Okay, so you're still in school.
I'm a freshman.
Okay. All right. And do you play any other sports, or is racing the main thing you do?
I've never done any other kind of thing but racing.
Yeah. That's common, Kristen. Girls who are in racing don't usually have interest in other sports because racing takes up most of their time, for sure. So, Kristen, you're 15 years old. You've been racing for a few years. How did you get started?
So we seen a flyer, me and my dad, and it said, come drive a real race car from ages 5 to 16. And I was 5 at the time, and I really wanted to do it. And so me and my dad went, paid $20 to go drive a race car.
Uh-huh.
And then after, I had so much fun, I was bothering him for 2 more years, wanting to go back and drive the race car.
Yeah.
And so we got a hold of the people who did it, and went and did it, and then we bought the first car we had.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just gone from there.
So what kind of car did you start in?
Quarter midgets.
Yeah, that's what my granddaughter started in too. And, my son-in-law did basically the same thing. They went to a try and ride, and he came home with 2 quarter midgets, one for each of his girls. So it doesn't take long for you to figure out that this is what you want to do. No, it doesn't at all, for sure. So tell me a little bit about, so that was when you were 5, now you're 15. So what's been your journey? What have you driven, and where are you now?
I've only driven the quarter midget and then now the legend.
Okay.
I was in quarter midgets from November of 2017 to December of 2023. And then I retired last year.
Okay.
We ran Midwest Thunder, the entire series, for as long as I could remember.
Mm-hmm.
We ran several national races all over the country.
Yeah.
I've been to other tracks just for fun. And then I competed in track championships and all the series that we had at my home track.
So Midwest Thunder, would that mean you ever raced at Kalamazoo?
I've raced at Kalamazoo a couple times.
Yeah.
Lansing, Waterford.
Yeah. So I
Um,
only live, I used to live about 15 minutes from the track in Kalamazoo. Now I live maybe 25 or so. And if you were racing during those years and you came to Kalamazoo, you may very well have raced against my granddaughters because they
I
were
might
racing.
have.
And then I'm sure you know who Carson Hocevar is.
I almost killed him one time.
Oh
Fun
dear,
fact.
Kristen.
I flipped in Lansing and went right across his face.
Oh my gosh. So I've known Carson for a long time. I knew of him before my granddaughters started racing, and then once they started racing quarter midgets, then I got to be very well acquainted with him and Amy and Scott, and so I've followed Carson for a long time, and so I'm guessing you probably raced against my granddaughters, the Snyder girls, Maddie and McKenna Snyder, because they raced there for basically during those same some of those same years that you raced there. So, what is your favorite thing about being involved in motorsports?
Um, like the competitiveness, but also the willingness to help your competitors.
Yeah, that's true. So if you're competitive on the track, but if your car breaks and you need some help off the track, those people are the
There's
same
people you're
ones.
racing against, people you don't even know.
Exactly. Exactly. And I hear that over and over. That is such a common response from people, and it's men or women in motorsports. And you don't
I don't get
see,
treated any differently than any man.
no, and you don't see that in other sports. You know, if the football player gets hurt, yeah, people are concerned, but it's not the same, you know, as it is in motorsports. And I love that about it. It just makes me so proud to be a part of the sport because of that. So now the legend car, so you drove that this year in 2024, right? Was your first year?
I started in 2023. I ran both the
Okay.
quarter midget and the legend for
Okay.
a whole season.
Okay. So you've had 2 years of the legend car. How is that different than the quarter midget? What was the hardest thing to overcome or to learn?
Shifting.
Shifting. Yeah.
Shifting was definitely very difficult, especially my first year because I didn't have a gear indicator. So remembering what gear I was in was
Yeah.
definitely a little difficult.
That was hard. Yeah. But now
Um,
you've got it.
but
No problem.
also track points, like when to lift, when to get on it. That was hard to get into.
Okay. And how did you overcome that? Who helped? Did somebody kind of coach you, or was it just because the more you raced, the more comfortable you got? How did you overcome that?
So going into legend racing, I already had friends that were in it, and they hooked us up with a team, and they all basically everybody helped in and got
Yeah.
tired of me being in the way, so they would help me out.
There you go. So if they helped you get out of the way, then it was a more fun race for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you hands on with your cars, or mostly who helps with them?
I've always been very like into my car, always
Yeah.
helping, always watching. Um, but yeah, I was the main one working on the quarter midget, and then now I'm working on learning the basics and everything that I need to know about the legend.
Okay. And then who does the rest of it?
Um, Mainly my dad, but we have some local people that are willing to help.
Okay.
Friends that we've met at other tracks that we can just call and be like, hey, how do we do this?
Yeah.
It's basically one big group of people helping us out.
Yeah. It is. It is for sure. So, do you have a most memorable moment from your racing career? Maybe more than one.
My most memorable one was probably my first race at Anderson Speedway.
And why?
Um, it's one of the fastest tracks you can race at in a legend. It's banked,
Yeah.
long track, big banks, and it was my first time there. And I was struggling a little bit throughout the beginning of the day, and then by the feature, I was more confident with the track, felt good with the car, and I finished fifth my first race there. And then the main person was working on our car at the time. His name is Mark Morello. He like was so proud. I got out of the car and he was like right there.
Oh, you don't think about how, you're proud of how you do and that, but you don't always think about all those people that are supporting you and how proud they are of you. And so that was nice that he took the time to make sure that, you knew that for sure. Sounds like you have a good support system.
I have quite a few supporters and they're all pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. So have you had any problems or, you said, I think from the beginning that they always treated you just like another one of the guys. You never had any issues because you were a girl, they thought you didn't belong on the track?
Actually, this one time I did.
Okay.
And it was in quarter midgets.
Okay.
6 years ago. But I've overcome that and now they think that I belong.
Good. Because you do belong. For sure. You do belong.
I proved myself.
Yeah.
The one time that I got told I didn't belong was my very first race in a new class.
Really? Yeah.
I was 9. And I was struggling because I had never been in that class before. It was faster than anything I was used to.
Yeah.
And then next couple of races, I proved myself to be worthy of the spot I was in.
Well, you got to start somewhere. You can't just jump into a new class and people expect you to be perfect and, the fastest driver or whatever. So it's good that you didn't back down and you didn't let people talk you out of what you belong, you belong there. So that's good. So if somebody asked you, if a mom or somebody came up to you at the track and they said, do you think this is a good sport for a girl to be into? Are you glad you're in the sport of racing? What would you say?
Absolutely. It's been my focus for my entire life, and I wouldn't choose anything else.
Yeah. And what is it, you like going fast? There's got to be more to it than just the people.
It's mainly a distraction from the bad things that goes on.
Yeah.
Like you strap into the car, put your helmet on, and the whole world goes away.
Yeah. Because you're focused on what you're doing. You're focused down the track and on the cars around you. And
you're
you
focused on one thing and nothing else.
Yeah. And you can kind of let all that, right. You let all the rest of it go. Yeah, that's great. So are there a lot of girls that race against you in the legend car?
Actually, no. I'm the only consistent one that follows the series that I'm in.
Really?
And then at the speed room, there's one other girl.
Okay. So where do you race most of the time?
It really depends on where the schedule puts us.
Okay.
Because as our team, we make up like a schedule of like, hey, we might go here.
Mm-hmm.
And so wherever races that are on there and how many races that track schedules.
Okay. So is it a series or you just kind of pick and choose where you want to go?
We had a series this last season, Hoosier Midwest Legend Series.
Okay.
And we all followed the schedule that they made.
Mm-hmm.
We had our own sets of rules. Like we had a very strict series.
Okay. And so this year you may race some of that and you may race some other things.
I know the speed room has at least 10 races.
Oh, wow.
I'm next sanctioned for the Legends.
Okay.
So we're going to mainly run there because it's the closest track to us.
Yeah.
And we don't really want to travel.
Yeah.
But other than that, we're going to run the other tracks that we know we can compete at and then go some other places.
Good. That's all good. Sounds like you got a good plan for 2025. So how about down the road? What's your long-term goal? You're 15. What's your goal, let's say, when you're 20 or 25? What kind of racing would you like to be doing?
I would like to become really good at the Legends and then be able to move up into maybe an ARCA car or a truck series.
Okay.
Get a ride somewhere in that.
That's a pretty natural move, move up. So that's a good goal to have. Um, do you feel like you're a role model to anyone, younger drivers, girls or boys?
Um, at my home track for the quarter midget, I definitely know that I was for some people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was one of the oldest drivers at the track that hadn't retired yet,
Yeah,
and I was one of the best at what I was doing.
right.
Looking at my records from over the years, I had a lot of experience at that
Yeah,
track.
yeah.
So a lot of little kids would go up to me and ask me, "Hey, how do you do this?"
Mm-hmm.
I was I was a role model for some of the adults too,
Yeah.
because at the end of quarter midgets, I was the only one working on my car. Dad wouldn't touch
Mm.
it unless it was a motor issue
Okay.
or something that I didn't know how to do. But for the
Okay.
most part, I was the one working on my car, and so some of the rookie families would find me and be like, "Hey, I need your help. Can you come show me how to do this?"
Wow. That's pretty
So
cool, Kristen, really, when you
my
think
last
about
two
it.
years in quarter midgets, I was focused on other families more than I was myself.
Oh, so you're a giver. You like to help other people.
Makes it worth it.
Sure does. Sure does. So, who's been a key part of helping you be successful in racing and maybe some lessons that you've learned from being involved in motorsports?
Um, Definitely my parents for helping me get through the expenses and the traveling and everything getting me to the track. But as far as the track goes, um, I know one that really helped me out my first couple of years in the higher classes. Austin Evans. He's the one that taught me how to drive
Okay.
correctly against the older kids. Um, he would teach me how to pass correctly, the line that I needed to run for the older classes. He taught me basically everything I needed to know. And then he told me one time that when I learned how to beat him, that was when he was moving to Legends. He stayed until I was ready to leave.
Really? And so, is he in Legends now?
He was in Legends for a couple of years.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know what he's in, but he's in one
Okay.
of the bigger cars racing with his brother and his dad.
Okay. All right. It's interesting that you have that relationship because that's pretty cool that he was really I don't want to say a fan, but he was also a part of your support system,
He
that
was one of my
huge
biggest
part.
mentors as a child.
Yeah. He was a huge part of your racing and where you are now and how you got to where you are for sure. So what kind of success, success doesn't necessarily mean how many races did you win. Success means you improved, it could be a lot of different things. How would you rate your success? Like what kind of success would you say you had and in what way?
I've had a lot of goals met and overachieved for sure over the past years
Mhm.
that I've been competitive.
Yeah.
Um, I've had quite a few successes in the quarter midget.
Yeah.
Um, with the Midwest Thunder races, I won my first one. Um, my last year running those, I think.
Yeah.
And I ran in pretty much the front of the nationals. I was in the top 10, 15
That's good. Because there's a lot
out
of
of
kids in that.
I don't know how many.
Yeah.
Um, in the legend, I got my first win my first year. I got my first
Wow.
heat race win.
That's unusual because
Um,
a lot of kids don't win right away. Yeah.
it was towards the middle of
Uh-huh.
my first year,
Yeah.
and it was a heat race win, which isn't necessarily that big, but it was
It's
really
a
big for us.
It is. I'm sorry, but it is a big win. A win is a win, and you got to start somewhere. And you typically don't start winning a feature race. It usually starts with the heat races. So don't discount what you did because um, that's a big deal. It really
It
is
was
for
definitely
sure.
big for us.
Yeah, I think it would be big for pretty much anybody for sure. Yeah. So, do you use social media to promote yourself and your team?
We have a Facebook page,
Okay. What is that called?
Hammer Family Racing.
Okay. So we can follow along there to see where you're going and how you're doing. And who runs your Facebook page?
My mom and my dad. It just depends on
Okay.
who gets it first.
Yeah. Okay. Because you can't do everything by yourself. That's for sure. So what would you say is your favorite? Do you have a favorite track that you have raced at?
In the quarter midget,
Yeah.
it was either Miami Valley in Ohio or McAchee in West Liberty, Ohio.
Okay. And then what about the legend car?
In the legend, probably either Anderson Speedway or Mount Lawn.
Okay. All right. And do you have a track on your bucket list that you'd really like to race at?
I really, really want to go race at one of the big tracks, like at the NASCAR tracks.
Yeah. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Because I think it's Charlotte Motor Speedway that sets up a track specifically for the legends.
Oh yeah.
And I really want
Yeah,
to
I
run
think
that.
they do. I do remember seeing that, I think, for sure. Yeah. So Kristen, what have we not talked about as far as you or your racing career that we should talk about?
I don't really know. We hit the main points.
I try to hit a lot of the points, but I always ask, about that because sometimes, you know something that I don't know about you and that we need to discuss. What's your legend car look like? What color is it and what number is it?
I've always been the number 4. That's
Okay,
never gonna change. But
why are number 4?
that was my dad's number when he was playing
Okay.
ball.
Okay.
And then he got that from a baseball player a long time ago.
All right.
And then as far as looks go, it was blue.
Mm-hmm.
But over the off season, we're buying a new body.
Okay.
And we're changing things up for next year.
All right. That's good. Do you have marketing partners or does your family, it's a family racing team?
I'm technically part of my sponsor's race team.
Okay.
Because, so the Reef, they have the fish store, but they also have the Motorsports because the owner's daughter, and they have a few people in the drift cars.
Okay.
So I've always been considered part of the Motorsports side of it.
Nice. That's good. And it's nice to be part of a team too. That's always helpful.
I was part of a Legends team my first year and last year. We're still trying to figure things out for next year. But I was part of SM Racing Development.
Yeah. And it's only the first day of the year, so you got a little while. You can figure it out. All right.
They're figuring things out. We're figuring things out. It's just one big idea right now.
Yeah. Okay. So I sent a kind of a sheet with some questions on it. I don't know if you got to see it or not, but sometimes I go through some of your favorites. Did you see that?
I think I have it pulled up.
Okay. You don't have to pull it up. I'm going to ask you. So I'm going to ask you some of your favorite things. Okay. So what's your favorite food?
My favorite food? I like pizza.
Oh,
I really
me
like
too.
pizza.
I could eat pizza almost every day. What's your favorite color?
Either blue or black.
Favorite animal?
Bottlenose dolphin.
Oh, nice. A favorite vacation destination, either somewhere that you've already gone or somewhere that you would like to go.
We went on a cruise, and the first place we stopped was Aruba. I really liked Aruba.
I've heard that's beautiful. Favorite
candy? The water
candy?
was crystal clear.
I know. How does that happen? It's just so nice. I live near Lake Michigan, and it's not crystal clear. I can tell you that. What's your favorite candy or snack?
I don't really have a favorite candy. I'm
Okay.
not a big candy eater. It's a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
My favorite snack,
Hmm.
I really like pretzels,
Oh, that's good. That's a
like pretzel
healthier snack
twists.
too. And we talked about your favorite racetrack. How about your favorite type of music?
It really depends on what mood I'm in and what day it is, where I'm going. But I really like older music,
Oh,
so like 80s, 90s.
nice.
That's when
And
my parents and my siblings grew up. So
yeah. So do you listen? This is kind of off topic of favorites, but do you have a pre-race routine? Like, do you have music you listen to, or you do a certain thing, or you always have the same thing to eat at the track? Do you have kind of a routine that you go through?
me and my dad are kind of weird about that. We don't eat on race days until after.
Okay.
We'll have like a snack or something in the morning to hold us over until after the races are done.
Okay.
And then throughout the day, we'll have fruit or like a bag of chips or something.
All right. Do you have a
Um,
favorite sports team other than a racing team? Are you a
Texas
Colts?
A&M football.
Okay. Not a Colts fan.
They're okay.
They're okay. Well, you could be a Lions fan. I would let you be a Lions fan with me. How about a
The Lions killed us.
Yeah, they did. The Lions are doing really good. So everybody's a Lions fan now. I've been one even when they were terrible. So, um, how about a favorite professional race car driver?
Favorite professional race car driver. Going back on earlier, Carson Hocevar. I really like
Mhm.
him.
Yeah,
Um, but also I really like Christopher Bell.
yeah, I do too. He's a good kid, good
He
guy.
is a good kid.
Yeah. What's your favorite holiday?
4th of July.
Okay. Do you usually race on the 4th of July?
I know that we did in 2023.
Okay. Just
There's
depends,
usually a
probably.
race. There's usually a race in Salem
Hmm.
every year, but in the quarter midget, we would race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the
Yeah,
Brickyard.
yeah. Do you have a favorite TV show?
Not really. I'm more of a movie type of girl.
Okay. What's your favorite movie?
Finding Nemo.
Oh, I love that movie.
I've really liked that movie since it came out.
It has a good story to it. Disney
It
does a
really
good
does.
Disney does such a good job with movies that are great for kids to watch, but they also can have adult humor or a story that maybe little kids don't get, but the bigger kids do, or the adults. And I think they do a great job with all of that.
They
And my
have
last,
they have
go ahead.
lessons worth learning,
Absolutely,
but in a
absolutely,
kid way.
but in a kid way. Sometimes adults need those lessons too. And what's your favorite thing to celebrate?
I really like celebrating my birthday, but
Yeah.
other than that,
Okay.
New Year's. I really like
New
New
Year's.
Year's.
Yeah. Kind of a fresh start, isn't it?
It's a fresh start, but also I've always been a really big fan of fireworks.
Okay.
So 4th of July and New Year's, I
Yeah.
really like the fireworks.
Yeah. Somebody was shooting them off last night here close to where I live because we could hear them, but we couldn't see them. So, yeah. Well, Kristen, I don't have any other questions for you. You've shared a lot about yourself and your racing career. Is there anything else that you would like to share with me?
Um, not not really.
Okay. We've covered everything.
I'm pretty sure we've covered
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, we have. You were prepared and ready to go, so that was great. Well, I appreciate that you took time today to be on the show. I hope you have a really successful 2025 coming up in the Legend Car. If you post things on social media and you tag Women's Motorsports Network, it's easier for me to follow you and see what you're doing if you do that. So tag me if you would, and then I'll try to keep track of what you're up to. And if you get somewhere close to Kalamazoo, you'll have to let me know so I can come and watch you in person.
I know we were in Whittemore last year.
Okay. All
We
right.
tried to race there, but it rained out.
Yeah.
Um,
That happens in Michigan in the summer, unfortunately.
Depending on the regulations that they set this year, we might go back.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully I'll get to meet you in person here, or watch you race. I mean, at some point, because I like to be able to see you in action, and I
The
try to
legend
be.
races are definitely worth watching.
They certainly are. Yeah, for sure. So I'll be excited to kind of follow you and follow your schedule and see if I can get there. So yeah. Well, I appreciate your time, and I thank you for being on the show. And if you just hang on for a minute after the recording, I just have a little information to get from you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. Subscribe to my show and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you or someone you know would like to be featured in the Women's Motorsports Network News online magazine, this podcast, or Let's Talk Racing Live, my social media show, contact me via Messenger on Facebook at Melinda Russell, or send me an email at womensmotorsportsnetwork@gmail.com.